Welcome, ID Crisis. How are you, sir?
There he is.
There he is.
Yes!
Let's rock!
Be quiet.
I'm gonna do a terrific show today, and I'm gonna help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
All right. I think I've got some sound. Yep. Hello, everybody. It is your friendly neighborhood pinstriper, airbrusher, all around, doesn't know what to do next. And so I'm just gonna kind of dive in here. I got to play around with a couple of these brushes that I grabbed. The Letterboy single stroke is a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch. These are pretty nicely chiseled, nice and tight. I messed around with this little brush the other day, and I planned on doing some of the lettering that comes with it. Let's see if I can pull this out of here. When you get your brushes, they come packaged with I don't like the way that's mirrored. Wonder if I can do something about that. Hold on. Shouldn't I be able to flip this? There we go. That's better. That makes sense. It's got a nice kind of a little speedball letter instructional for block letters and for casual. And there's, you can see some script right there. I found, and the thing that I want to try tonight is that I automatically kind of fell into doing some Old English or calligraphy style lettering. And I'm not even, wouldn't consider myself a pro at that, but it just felt like the natural thing to do. So I'm going to mess around with a couple of those tonight. This is going to be a lot like the practice play stream I did the other day, where it's just, we're kind of messing around. It's, what are we looking at? It's 8:41 on a Sunday night. The kid, that's me, kid's got to get up early and go to work tomorrow. And I had a pretty decent, I wouldn't call it lazy, but a couple of irons in the fire today, and I wanted to make sure that I fit this in. What you see me using here is the powder lines template created by yours truly. You can find it. It's all the links are in the description, including the links for the Letterboy, if you want to try those out. So, and this is basically what you see here, what it comes with. It comes with these two. It comes with chalk. It comes with the bag. It comes with the template. And it comes with nice, thick, high mil plastic Ziploc bags to keep them safe when not in use. I tend to stick mine right in here. Okay, so I'm going to do some lettering. I'll make sure I got. Oh, and by the way, I was the last stream that I did where I was attempting to work on this table here. I was using this old phone to do it with, which is why I couldn't get the video to rotate 90 degrees. So I actually bothered to get a new camera. So that makes 3 total. I've got no excuses for not getting some content out there. It's just sometimes it's just fun to spend money on stuff. So what I'm gonna do here. This is one of the nice things about the powder lines template. This is just chalk. So if I want to make a nice, line in between these two, and take out one of these lines, I can really easy with a dry cloth. Just kind of put a loose. I'm just going to do a loose A. I've got a reference sheet up here so that I can see what I'm looking at. I keep a bunch of different lettering styles like this in my folder in my kit for quick reference if I have to do something other than script or another specific font. Sometimes people like to see a good Ratfink style font, so I've got a couple of those in there. B. Yeah, these brushes, or at least the one that I used, kind of took me back to art class in high school and in college, where we were working with the different nibbed pens, and I've seen some really cool calligraphy videos online, and it has this, I don't want to say detrimental effect, but I'm already let's see if I know how to say this. I make my own wine. I try to learn how to do the best ribs that I can and smoke different meats and learn to do all these different things. And what I've realized is that those are distractions to the things that I feel like I should be doing. My time is already limited as it is. So why get into all of these things that are not going to actually, profit me anything? So, and so I'm only saying that to say that getting into calligraphy, if it's not going to be behind a paintbrush, I can't allow myself to get interested in it, because it's just going to be a version of procrastination. I don't have the time to learn something new, as it were. If it's not related. But you'll see here when I'm talking about that this brush is it's really nice, really chiseled. I mean, look at how thin that is. And fair warning, on the package it says that it works best with acrylic paints, and I know, like in the videos, the demos are using acrylic paints. Now, I don't know that treating this brush the way that you would treat another sign painting brush. This is a really fine synthetic filament. So if you're going to use something like enamels, or you're going to be rinsing these brushes out, and I wouldn't use urethane with them. That's just, I'm not saying that I learned a hard lesson from experience. I just don't get the feeling that as skinny as these hairs are, that they're going to hold up well to harsher chemicals than a mineral spirit or something mild that you would use to clean enamels off of a brush. So I already know that I'm not using a paint that they say go ahead and use that paint. So that's the caveat there. Okay, let's see how we do here with this A. I'm holding it at a 45-degree angle, the way that you would a calligraphy pen. Of course, pressure is going to be, these are alpha paints, by the way. Pressure is going to be a factor. The more you press down on the brush, you've got one thickness here, and then there's, this. And that may be what, what they're looking to do if you're using the brush for a casual letter or block letter. Press down on it until you get a consistent width. I'm kind of going lighter on it. I'm still feeling these things out. Now, when I got these alpha colors, I think I got the entire spectrum from somebody online. I'm pretty sure I told this story before. It was one of those moments that almost never happens, where you're interested, they have it, the transaction happened so fast. I got a whole box full of brushes, I got all of the alpha colors, and I got it for like $400. I tend to be a little bit of a pack rat when it comes to tools and paint. On one hand, I'll say, oh, I don't have the time to do all this stuff, and on the other hand, I'll buy brushes, and you see what I mean? How it's this brush is so chiseled, and so you just kind of like you could ride that. Oh, that's not a hair from the brush. That is a hair from just being in this dirt factory basement. It's real nice and skinny. And it's the hairs, I would consider them to be fast. That is to say, they've got a spring to them. What do we got going on here? Cool frog. Okay, I must have been looking at the wrong thing. I wasn't looking at the chat. I thought I was. They're sending me a link. All right, I don't know what's going on there yet, but I think that's the chat. Yeah, that's the chat. Cool frog sending me a comment. All right, let's get again. Yeah, so I ended up with all this paint and all these tools, and I keep thinking I cannot wait to retire so that I can just finally legitimize all this stuff that I've been wanting to do. I was talking to my one wholesaler for the powder lines template, and it was really odd that a lot of we were talking about how the COVID economy is just like absolutely nothing like it will probably never happen again, but that I sold more templates during the COVID era than any other time. And you know, when we were talking about it, he said, well, the reason why is because everybody's stuck at home, they're being paid to be there, and now there's a, not only are they bored, but they finally have a chance to do something that they've always wanted to do but never had the time. And that's kind of how I look at retirement. You know, some guys, you know, when they retire, and it's not going to be for like another, it's not going to be for like another 10 years. Although, oh, this is a smoked larceny whiskey. This is the last of it. I got a whiskey smoking kit for Christmas from both of my daughters. They did not talk to each other apparently, and that's what happened. And this was smoked with a nice oak. Yeah, but I do, you know, first glance, I'm enjoying the brush. Um, I think just messing around with this 1/4 inch is probably good for today, but I do look forward to employing them in other areas because, you know, I was messing around with the casual lettering and the block lettering, and it is, you know, it is an effective brush there. But I just like it's so sharp, and these bristles are considered fast. They're stiff, um, so they have a lot of snap. They're not something like floppy. Like this would be considered a slow a slow hair because it's, you know, it's floppy. You get paint in this, you get enough paint in this, and it'll sag. It'll just, you know, if you put a yellow paint on it, it'll look like a banana. But no, this is nice. It gives you a lot of control. Let's see if I can. How fast do I want to go with this? A little bit too much on there. It's a little too wet. I might not even be using this the right way. Just kind of going with what feels right. Yeah, that is definitely not the kind of D. It's a little sloppy. Let's try it again. No, you know what? Let's try it like the F. I'm gonna just wing this one. These I had these kind of sketched out myself with the, you know, pencil, Stabilo pencil, but I'm gonna see if we can just kind of go. Yeah, this is the palette. By the way, anybody who's seen any of my videos before knows the palette. That's what it looks like. We want to go here. I want some lowercase letters. Let's do some lowercase letters down here. A hair, a piece of dust. Yeah, I don't see a lot of shedding out of this either. Honestly, it's if the creator of the Letterboy was saying that he's getting the best results out of, and it's on the card that the brushes came with. I did not keep the card. I put these in with my other lettering brushes. So I'm going to be paraphrasing that best results does not necessarily mean that you can't use something else, but he gets his best results with acrylic. I don't think, don't hold me to it, but I don't think there's anything on there that says, you know, enamels are going to destroy these. All right, let's try A. A little bit too much of a harsh angle on that, but what are you going to do? Let's see here. We go. I'll just use the corner. Get that in. One sec, I'll be right back. I have this whole thing up on the TV on the wall, and I just want to make sure I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing. Comments. Got the comment. Well, oh, it was an emoji. That's why I didn't see it. Okay, but where's the actual chat over here? Shouldn't I be able to see the chat? And there's comments. Oh, so I'm trying to look at if there's a chat. I'm trying to see it on the phone that's in front of me, but I have the phone kind of clued in, like keyed in as a guest. I'm just not putting it up on the screen. To my left is the StreamYard's window, and I can see banners, media assets, style, blah, 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 comments, private chat. So, all right, maybe that's, yeah. I got a lot of getting used to this thing. Okay, let's try. Yeah, it should actually come down here more, but okay, all right. A couple more letters. I don't want to be here for ever. I just want to get this review. I like these. A lot of times when you see stuff, excuse me, on an Instagram ad, and you know, it's being touted as one of the greatest things ever, like my powder lines template. Be sure to go to idcrisisdesign.com/powder-lines. Link in the description. It is really a big time saver. You don't have to use any tape. You don't have to draw any pencil lines on here or anything like that. You just lay it down, you get your grid, and you're off and running. It doesn't scratch the paint or anything like that. Okay, I like the way this is going. Let's see a D. Yeah, more has a curve like that. But I'm like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you hold that at the 45-degree angle, and it's a nice chiseled. Now let's try an O. that one I'm doing out of my head. And I wonder how the sound is too, because the microphone is from the camera. I can kind of hear myself echo a little bit off of the phone that I'm watching, even though I've got the volume down turned all the way. So if I can hear it through there, the sound should be good. I'm talking at the board. The camera's up here, but it seems to be picking up the audio just fine. And I know what you're saying, Dave. If you did this every day, you wouldn't sound like a neophyte every single time you get on the camera. Things are always evolving. Yeah, little elements like this. I mean, look at that. Look at the corner on that. Nice sharp corner right there. And I could try like a block stroke here. And I think if I'm going to be doing a block stroke, I need to be blowing this, pressing down and blowing this out a little bit. Yeah, I definitely need. It doesn't feel natural yet, and that's really just me only having hyphenated experiences. Every time I get on, I'm kind of knocking the rust off because there's so much time in between opportunities. I don't even know. You know, I'm probably doing this wrong. No, not really. I'm not doing it wrong. I'm just not doing it as if I've done it before. And that angle is way off. Well, let's try a couple of just line strokes. I don't need to be actually making a letter here. The idea is like when you're building one of these, you start on a corner, you let the brush spread out to one direction, and then you twist it at the end, and you get this here. Then you do the same thing on the other side, let the brush spread out to the left, and then you put a little corner there, and then you come across like this. This olive green is a little greasy too, I've noticed. Yeah, I'm doing this without any kind of like, you know, a lot of times a pattern will have been pounced, and you know, you can kind of follow along like where the letter is supposed to be. I'm kind of just doing this the way that you would write with a pen. I'm sort of eyeing it up as I go. I mean, Okay, this way better than this. I know that much. You don't gotta hit me head over the head twice with no tire iron. Yeah, it just feels so much better. I'm gonna do an S, and then I'm gonna rinse this guy out. I don't think 30 minutes is terrible. I just want to get some content out there, and get some healthy sleep so that I'm not like dragging my butt tomorrow. Man, it's so right on the end of that, man. When it flicks off the end, where are we going here? Let me focus. That stroke right there, man, it feels so good when it does exactly what it's supposed to. When it's supposed to. Yeah, that could be a little thinner. That little diagonal. I'm going to try one more time. Get a little bit more pain here. I'm going to try one more time. I want to do another S. That felt really good. Like actually put a decent, generous amount of paint on here. Yeah, came in here too hard. That's a little fat in there. That shouldn't be like that. Well, that turned out good. That was a nice little dollop on the end there. Let's see. Let me try a capital S. No, do that over here. Yeah, that should have come out like more like that, but I don't know, man. This kid, he's sending you instructions on how to do block in casual, and that's great, but I don't know, man. These brushes, they may be missing their calling. All right. Now I am not pulling on the hairs when I do this public service announcement. I'm just squeezing the paint out that way, but I am not yanking on the hairs. I'm doing little squeezes. I use enamel and lacquer thinner, so when I'm rinsing this out, I use enamel and urethane, so that when I'm rinsing this out, I actually kind of have it's just a dirty mix of lacquer thinner and mineral spirits. And most of the brushes hold up fine. I don't have an issue with it because I don't leave them in there for too long. give them a nice, and then immediately squeeze them out. I might even do like a little bit of Bob Ross would slap his brushes against, the easel, but now some guys will keep a clean, like a nice clean thinner off to the side, so get it clean for the most part over there in the dirty stuff, and then dip it into the clean reducer and see if you caught everything. If you didn't, it'll flow out in there, but we're looking pretty good. And then immediately put it in the oil so it doesn't dry out. That's that. Thank you guys for hanging out again. You're going to be looking at this later. Thank you. Like and subscribe. All that cool stuff. It is, what, 9:12? I should be in bed already. So I'm going to go take care of that. You guys have a great one, and I will talk to you next time.
I have enjoyed this conversation in English.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
Listen.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
Yeah, said Dave. The end.